Mirror fighting sources said earlier this week that boxing legend Mayweather is going to fight a sparring match with YouTuber Deji, and Deji's famous brother KSI thinks he has what it takes to put on a show, and KSI wants Deji to beat the out of Mayweather. In this video, we'll discuss the news in detail. Make sure you stick with me to the end so you don't miss any part of the gist. Without any further delay, let's get into it. What makes KSI confident that Deji will beat Floyd Mayweather in a fight? Deji, whose real name is Oladeji Olatunji, has started a career in boxing. His last fight against YouTube rival Fauci at London's O2 Arena was his first professional win. Olatunji fought with his brother KSI, whose real name is JJ Olatunji, on the undercard of his fight card. This was his first fight after losing to Jake Paul, Vinny Hacker, and Alex Wasabi back-to-back. Mirror fighting sources take it that Deji was picked as Mayweather's opponent while he is out on the exhibition circuit, and the two are now set to fight it out in the ring. His brother thinks that he has what it takes to put on a show now that he has won his first professional fight. Deji is just a man on a mission, KSI said about the possible fight on stage at the latest stop on his hugely successful music tour. We'll find out if it's true, but if it is, me, I'm leaving. I'll be there. I need to see him beat the fuck out of Mayweather, or at least make it through. Mayweather has already fought in 3 exhibitions, including a KO win over Japanese kickboxer Tenshin Nasukawa, a high-profile fight with Olatunji's friend Logan Paul, and most recently a lucrative Middle East fight with former sparring partner Don Moore. The boxing legend's next fight, which will be against his new Japanese opponent Mikuru Asakura, will take place next weekend, as it is already set. Mirror fighting has learned from sources that Olatunji's next fight is likely to take place on November 13th at the Coca-Cola Arena, where he previously fought Moore and won. How do you feel about the idea of Floyd Mayweather fighting Deji? Let us know what you think in the comment section below. In other news, let's talk about Tyson Fury versus Derek Chisora, which I think is the worst possible scenario. According to his promoter, Frank Warren, Tyson Fury is set to face Derek Chisora in his next defense of the WBC Heavyweight Championship. This will be the 3rd meeting between the two great British men, but it is far from the Fury trilogy with Deontay Wilder. In boxing, trilogies are used to settle scores after 2 exciting fights whose results diverge and require a decisive match. What they aren't for is staging a 3rd fight after 2 unequal and not particularly exciting victories for one man, at least not so far. Fury and Warren have been in the kitchen trying to whip up a filthy feast for a while now. Before Chisora, it was Mahmoud Char who was in the hot seat for an unappetizing salary. Chisora has at least beaten one ranked opponent in this decade, unlike the laughable Diamond Boy, but offering Del Boy a 3rd chance at Fury is insulting, especially considering his unnecessary withdrawal from the fight against Anthony Joshua. Boxing fans were enticed by a potential fight against the Olympic gold medalist before Fury began setting imaginary deadlines to nip the negotiations in the bud. Talks had gone on until DAZN and BT Sport took over the broadcast rights, but it was all a gimmick. First Char and now Chisora. Clearly, the plan was to pull the plug and sell an inferior opponent to the public after blaming AJ for not signing a contract he couldn't have signed, even if he wanted to, given the trade mechanisms involved. Frank Warren told IFL TV that they have the highest-ranked opponent on BoxRec, which is now Derek Chisora. Warren was half right. Chisora is the highest-ranked challenger aside from Joshua, but citing BoxRec is peculiar in itself. While a treasure trove of fighting facts and anecdotes, its status as the definitive set of rankings is questionable. For example, John Ryder, 31-5 of Islington, is currently ranked the 2nd-best super middleweight on the planet, 1 spot below Saul Canelo Alvarez and above David Benavidez and Caleb Plant. Sergey Derevyanchenko, who has lost 4 of his last 6 fights, is ranked as the 6th best middleweight in the world. This makes BoxRec seem like a practical excuse. Even if BoxRec had ranked Chisora as the #1 heavyweight, this fight would still be laughable. Fury got rid of Del Boy in 2011. He called it quits in 2014. What changed? 2 things. First, Fury continued to improve immeasurably and became a 2-time world heavyweight champion. Meanwhile, Chisora had lost 7 fights and, at the age of 38, has fended off calls for retirement. This fight was only made possible by Chisora's surprise win over Kubrat Pulev last time out. It was War Chisora's first victory since 2019, and it ended a 3-fight losing streak. He also came up against a 41-year-old whose last semi-significant win was a decision over Hughie Fury in 2018. Winning a veteran clash would have been a fine feather in Chisora's cap, a solid note to retire on, but it's frankly ridiculous that this win could secure him a lucrative shot at the best heavyweight in the game. While this might seem like a clumsy takedown of Fury Chisora 3, there are some important factors to consider. The most vital is the health aspect. Chisora has suffered countless punishments tournaments during his career. His all-action style has seen him take part in so many wars that it's literally become his nickname. Derek has been stopped 3 times, while many of his 9 decision losses have been brutal. The very fact that I pointed out 12 losses is yet another reason why Chisora shouldn't get that title shot. But his safety is the first and foremost important thing here. Fury hasn't just beaten people lately, he's destroyed them. Deontay Wilder has been decimated in his last 2 fights against the Gypsy King. Dillian White was also stopped in decisive fashion. These challengers were in their prime. Replace them with a nearly 40-year-old man who has been beaten and abused for the better part of 2 decades, and it could become potentially catastrophic. There is also the greater damage that can be done to boxing by such a fight. If fans have to pay for a completely pointless rematch of a pair of one-sided fights with a challenger who's only had 1 win in his last 4 bouts, what else will they have to pay for? This fight opens the floodgates for all sorts of goofy pay-per-views. This fight will happen and it will be behind a paywall. The best thing the boxing public can do is not pay for this fight. If they do, and in large enough numbers, it will only get worse. Over the coming weeks and months, this fight will be promoted like there's no tomorrow. The press conferences featuring 2 of the sport's most enigmatic and profitable fighters will result in viral videos left, right, and center. There will be documentaries, televised face-to-faces, scrambles at the weigh-in. Chisora will be called a big dosser, while the British public will laugh as if they have never heard this expression. Somewhere along the way, they'll try to convince you that Chisora can win. I don't think he even has a chance. He can't win. Wrapping it up, Conor Benn failed drug test before fight against Chris Eubank Jr. Conor Benn failed a drug test days before his highly anticipated fight against Chris Eubank Jr. The Daily Mail has revealed that the fighter has been told his results identified a banned substance, clomiphene, in his sample. This substance, which is generally used to treat infertility in women, can increase testosterone in men and is banned by the World Anti-Doping Agency. In the aftermath, Matchroom Boxing General Manager Eddie Hearn released a statement saying the fight is still on the table. The statement said, "The B sample has yet to be tested, which means that no rule violations have been confirmed. Indeed, Mr. Benn has not been charged with any violation of the rules. He is not suspended, and he remains free to fight." It wasn't until January that Benn, a welterweight on a meteoric rise with a perfect 21-0 record, was briefly removed from the WBC World Rankings for not enrolling in their training program. He released a statement at the time saying that the World Boxing Council has temporarily removed him from its January rankings and has requested that, in order to continue to be ranked by the WBC governing body, he officially enrolls in the WBC Clean Boxing Program, supported by the Voluntary Anti-Doping Association. He added that he could confirm that he had given instructions to my team, who are in the process of registering him. He wanted to personally address this issue for the boxing community and my fans. He also highlighted that it is important for him as a professional athlete to enroll in a clean testing program and play his part in keeping the sport safe, as well as having his name mentioned in the top 5 positions of all governing bodies. Benn is currently ranked 5th by the WBC and in the top 5 by all 3 other major sanctioning bodies. That concludes today's video. If you found the video helpful, please do consider giving us a thumbs up, and don't forget to share the video with your friends and family. See you next time.